If you've never lived in Georgia, you might be surprised to find what it's like really living here. My name is Kelly and I'm a realtor here in the North Metro Atlanta area, and I've helped hundreds of families move into Georgia from other states and other areas. I recently interviewed a group of buyers that I helped move into the state this year, and they came from North Carolina, California, Texas, Alabama, and Florida. And I asked them what surprised them the most about living here in Georgia. What were they not expecting? What were they surprised at? Either pleasantly or not so pleasantly. So I wanted to share those with you today. All right, for starters, one of the things I heard was people were so surprised that living here means you're probably going to live in a subdivision. Now, let me tell you about our subdivision. Let's start with the size. They can be as little as one street. They can be as big as a ton of streets. They can have one entrance in and out. They can have 4 or 5 entrances in and out. They can be as little as 5 to 10 homes. They can be as big as 2,000 homes. Now let's talk amenities. Amenities are a big reason why people want to live in subdivisions, especially when you're raising young children here and you don't know anybody yet. Living in a subdivision that has amenities like a swimming pool and tennis or pickleball courts, maybe a clubhouse and a playground, make it so much easier for you to meet new friends quickly and develop bonds with people. And it also gives you something to do, right? Now, some do not have amenities. And this can always be a little confusing for buyers who also get the sticker shock of what the annual HOA dues. For example, I've got a home right now that the HOA dues are $900 per year. However, they have 0 amenities. They're a one-street neighborhood. That $900 really just goes to pay for the road in the neighborhood, the lighting, and the entrance to the neighborhood, plantings and things like that. So that can be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow if you're buying into a subdivision with no amenities, but you're still going to have an annual HOA assessment. So speaking of assessments, let's talk about what they can cost. So that ranges as well. There are several neighborhoods that have voluntary HOAs. And when you have a voluntary HOA, which are few and far between, you're probably gonna have a pretty low HOA payment. It can be as low as $25 a year. And that's if you don't buy into the amenity package. It can be as much as a couple thousand a year though, and that's for full-blown amenities. The amount of your HOA dues depends on whether the HOA is mandatory or voluntary, and are you buying into an HOA that has amenities. But for the most part, if you're buying in a subdivision that has amenities, your HOA dues are going to, number one, be paid annually, and they're probably gonna range anywhere from $650 up to about $1,000 a year. Now, with buying into subdivisions, something is becoming more and more common that can be pretty shocking at the closing table, and that is the initiation fee. So an initiation fee is what you pay when you buy into the neighborhood or to the HOA. And I've seen these skyrocket over the past decade. What you can typically expect is going to be probably anywhere from half of an annual payment to a full annual payment. So there is a way you can find that out though before you purchase, and that's on the Community Association disclosure statement. Make sure that you get one of those because it's going to tell you how much the HOA fees are, how often they're paid, and then is there an initiation fee that's coming out of your pocket, as well as what the HOA fees cover, what all is included, and even more important, is the HOA in good standing financially? Do they have enough money in the budget to cover when big expenses happen? Or are they going to probably need to do a special assessment? And that's where all the neighbors get together and they pay a portion of the big assessment. It could be a new roof on the clubhouse. It could be replacing the clubhouse. There's one neighborhood here in Marietta where the dam is going to have to probably be replaced. That's going to be a massive expense. So That document is so important when you're purchasing into a subdivision, so make sure that you get it well ahead of time. Another thing that can drive up the annual expense for an HOA is if there is a gated entrance or not. I know the idea of living in a gated community can be very attractive to a lot of people, but that does come with a significant increase in the amount of HOA dues that you pay because the roads become private once you gate it. If the roads ever need maintenance, the county or the city is not going to maintain those roads. It's up to the neighborhood to do that. And so that can really cause HOA dues to really spike when you live in a gated neighborhood. But the trade-off is probably one that you're willing to trade. You've got the security that comes from living behind a gated residence, and you have the comfort knowing that the only people that are coming in and out are the ones that are vetted and the ones that you know are living there or are visiting there. Now, let's talk about condos and townhomes because they're their own special breed of HOA. A condo and townhome community is going to pay their HOA dues monthly instead of annually. And those HOA dues are going to range anywhere from probably $250 on the lower end up to $500 or $600 on the high end. And so what does that depend on? Number one, it depends on what does the HOA include. Now, if it's a condo, of course, all of your exterior maintenance is going to be included. You probably have amenities like a pool and clubhouse and gym that you're also going to be paying for. Sometimes a doorman or a concierge. The HOA dues really are based on the square footage when you live in a condo. So you can pretty much guarantee that if you're living in an 800 square foot condo, then your HOA dues are going to be based on the square footage. If you are living in a 1400 square foot condo in the same building, then your HOA dues are going to be more. Now let's flip over to townhomes. Some HOAs maintain the exterior of the townhome, meaning the siding, the brick, the roof, things like that. Some do not though. You're on your own when it comes to the exterior maintenance. That can have a drastic impact on how much you pay in your HOA dues monthly. When I see a townhome that's for sale and the HOA dues are around $200 to $250 a month, I pretty much can guarantee that the exterior maintenance is not included. Now, that's not true all the time. There's a lovely gated neighborhood in Johns Creek that somehow is still only about $250 a month, and it includes the exterior maintenance and it has a pool. That's a fantastic neighborhood. Now, HOA dues that are a bit higher are going to include exterior maintenance. They include, again, roof, siding, pressure washing, landscaping, things like that. So that's really nice to know that all that stuff's covered. The only thing that's usually not covered in the exterior are the windows. That's your expense that you have to pay. The other thing that HOA dues can include when you're looking in a condo or townhome community are utilities. They almost always include trash and sewer, and of course, the amenities. Some of them can also include water, gas, sometimes power, and sometimes internet. So when you look at that, what can be quite a large monthly HOA payment, look into everything that it covers and then break down how much would it cost me to pay for all of those things a la carte. And very often you'll find that you're actually paying a pretty fair price for it. Part of the HOA dues also go into paying the reserves, and that's where that initiation fee goes as well. You want to have a healthy reserve in an HOA community, especially condo and townhome, because as things need to be fixed, you don't want the burden falling on you as the homeowner and getting a special assessment. You want there to be plenty of money in savings for the HOA to be able to pay for things like that out of pocket, especially when it comes time to replace all the roofs in the neighborhood. The last thing I'll say about HOAs is sometimes the reason why people don't want to live in neighborhoods with HOAs, and that's the covenants and restrictions that come with living in an HOA neighborhood. In an HOA community, the covenants and restrictions could be, number one, they could be non-existent. Covenants and restrictions actually expire in the state of Georgia after a certain number of years, typically 20 to 30 years. And some neighborhoods don't renew them, which means that you don't have really any rules. The rules default to what the county or the city rules are for living in the county or the city. But very often you'll find that you're buying into a neighborhood that does come with a set of guidelines that the neighbors have to follow. I personally think these are really great because it prevents people from neglecting the maintenance on their homes. There are many subdivisions that I've been in, and this can be really heartbreaking when you have beautiful homes in the neighborhood interspersed with people who aren't maintaining their lawns, their homes need to be painted, or they've been painted some crazy color. There's an inconsistency that happens when you live in a neighborhood without those guidelines. Another thing that can really surprise people when they move to Georgia, and especially the metro Atlanta area, is how trash works in our area. So a lot of people move from areas where trash is included in their city taxes, and the city basically covers the trash pickup. That is not the case for most areas of metro Atlanta. When you move here, first of all, you have a number of trash services to pick from, and some are absolutely terrible and some are absolutely amazing as trash companies go. The best way to pick the trash company is to ask the neighbors, who do you use for trash? That's something that I ask a lot. What's the sanitation company that you guys use? Very often there's at least 3 to 4 to pick from. So you want to make sure you pick the right one. And then they are going to come every week, but they're typically only going to pick trash up once a week, and they're going to pick recycling up every other week. Now, again, most people are surprised by this because they think they're coming from an area where it's included in the city taxes, but it's not. So the good news is that you're actually not paying for sanitation in your tax bill unless you live in the city of Atlanta or city of Decatur, but you're going to pay it the other way, but at least you have some control over who you're picking and the fees that you're paying. A typical cost for trash and recycling pickup is going to run you about $30 a month, so it's very affordable. Sewer. So most of the homes that you're going to be looking at, if they're on under an acre and you're in the city of Atlanta or you're in close in metro Atlanta, then your home is going to be on sewer and public water most likely. Every once in a while, you'll find a home that is on septic, especially if it's over an acre. And if you've never lived on a property that has a septic tank, this can be kind of a scary thing. It certainly can put a roadblock into if you want to even purchase that home or not. But I've actually lived on septic and I've lived on sewer, and I wanted to share with you guys the pros and cons of both. So let's start with septic tanks. So one of the pros of living on a septic tank is that you don't have to pay city sewer taxes, which can save you a good bit of money on your, it actually comes on your water bill, but on your water bill each month. A con of living on a septic tank is that it does need to be pumped every 4 to probably 5 or 6 years, which is going to run you anywhere around $400 to $600. So another con of living on a septic tank is that sometimes it can fail. And when you have a lot of people staying in your home and a lot of people using your home, sometimes the septic tank can get overwhelmed, and you'll know it because all of a sudden your backyard will get a little wet. I know, that's so gross, right? So the way to avoid that is only flush toilet paper down the toilets. And also, you're not going to have a disposal. If you have a home on a septic tank, a food disposal, you should not use a food disposal. You don't want that going into your septic tank. It's just going to clog it up. So septic tanks are higher maintenance, in my opinion, but if you have a septic tank, that probably means that you're living in a little bit more rural of an area, you've got a little bit more land, and so that trade-off can be worth it for many people. And my last point for this video is, again, this always surprises me that it surprises people that I move into the area, but people are so nice here. And that can be surprising to people who are moving from an area that may not be as friendly. We Southerners, especially Georgians, we love to meet new people. If you're in the neighborhood and you're driving down the road, you're absolutely going to get away from your neighbor. I hope that you wave back. People are friendly. They want to help you. So if you're walking down the street, make sure to make some eye contact, give them a smile. That's what they're going to be giving you. We're just a friendly area to live in. We want to help. We want to help you get settled in. So when you move to the metro Atlanta area, that might surprise you as well, but in all of the best ways. So I hope that you found this video helpful today. My name is Kelly Allen. I make videos like these because I want to really help people understand truly what the pros and cons are of living in Georgia so you make the best decision for your family. Reach out to me with a Calendly link below, or call me or text me, and be sure to hit subscribe on this and hopefully like so that you can keep receiving these videos every week. Talk to you soon.